Hello, my name is Alex Sandoval. I am the president of the National Association of Business Lawyers in the Chihuahua section. And last Friday, the National Association, along all the sections, and the national president, Nuhat Ponce Curi, we issued a critical position on the recent constitutional supremacy reform passed in Mexico. This reform limits the federal judiciary authority to review the constitutional amendments, exempting the constitutional amending power from any judicial oversight. Anade argues that this initiative is regressive and contrary to the principles of democracy and separations of powers entries in the Constitution. Judicial review of constitutional amendments is essential for safeguarding human rights and maintaining a balance of power among state institutions. Anade concludes that the reform must be interpreted in line with international human rights law, always favoring the broadest protection of rights as established by Article 1 of our Constitution and along the international agreements along human rights. Key points, principles of judicial review. Another emphasizes that the constitutional amending power should not be exempt from absolute judicial control, as this undermines the nature of the rule of law. Risk of power concentration. The reform possesses a risk of power concentration within the amending power, Congress with its absolute majority, which is incompatible with the Constitutional aim to prevent any single branch from acting without checks. Protection of human rights. Judicial review of constitutional amendments ensures the protection of human rights and guards against any potential infringements resulting from constitutional changes. Impact on legal certainty. The possibility of amendments affecting fundamental rights without judicial oversight compromises legal certainty of individual rights. Contradiction with balance of powers. Another argues that the Mexican democracy is founded on a balance among powers, and restricting one branch reviewing another constitutes a democratic regression. And we have to consider that maybe during time this occurred, but the thing is that we should not change that in the written constitution. Interpretation in accordance with international law. The reform should be interpreted in accordance with international human rights law and Article 1 of our Constitution, which mandates the broadest protection of rights. Democratic setback. Another believes that the exemption of judicial oversight transforms the amending power into an absolute authority, representing an unacceptable setback for Mexican democracy. Article 1 of the Constitution. The reform is incompatible with Article 1 of the Constitution, which requires the broadest protection of human rights and respect for international treaties on the matter. Implications for the Supreme Court. The reform limits the role of the Supreme Court of Justice of our nation as the guardian of constitutionality and defender of human rights in Mexico. Institutional position. Another reaffirms its commitment to the rule of law and calls for constitutional amendments that do not undermine established democratic and human rights principles. And the main, from my own perspective, the main discussion is that if we have these affixed clauses on our constitution or not, this type of clauses or articles that should not be changed by any reason. And well, the position of Anade is based on the consideration that we should have this balance of powers, checks and balances, considered to be affixed and cannot be changed. But also, the current Congress, by establishing these changes, considers that their majority provides them enough power affixed based on that election to do whatever they want. And I believe, in my humble opinion, is that there shouldn't be any affixation or fixation of any clause. Freedom of change should exist, but a good set of rules should be considered to make further and profound changes that in any event, not now, but in the future, with a different even executive president, executive authority, could change completely human rights. There should be a strongest position to consider these type of changes rather than simply an electoral result argument. This is my point of view. Thank you very much. See you around.